It's midday right here in Lagos, Nigeria. Welcome to Lunchtime Politics, where we aggregate the big political stories and what's happening in the polity and bring you all of the highlights. Let's begin with it. Former presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, provides evidence that he did not work with the Sani Abacha government but was co-opted with others into a task force on decongesting the ports. The former minister and former national publicity secretary of the APC, now spokesperson of the ADC, Honorable Bolaji Abdullahi, joins me on the program to explore the state of the polity. Welcome again to the program. I'm Jeffrey Uzanga. Perhaps a good place to start will be this back and forth over the delineation of Warri Federal Constituency that has caused a challenge among the Ishekiris, Ijo, and Urobos. Now, this time, the Ogbe Ijo Kingdom in Warri South-West local government area of Delta State are voicing strong opposition against the recent ward delineation exercise by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, and the reallocation of electoral wards. In a statement, press briefing in their community, their leaders described the proposal as unfair and urged INEC's national chairman to intervene, warning that continued neglect could lead to the shutdown of oil and gas infrastructure within their territory.
We totally reject INEC's proposal on the allocation of 19 registration area electoral wards in Warri South-West local government area to the respective communities / kingdoms. The Ogbejo Kingdom, with the highest population, landmark, and communities, deserve 8 registration areas / electoral ward out of the 19 registration areas in Warri South-West local government area, in line with INEC's guidelines / criteria for the fresh delineation. We call on chairman of INEC to address this act of gross and wicked injustice against the Ogbejo people of Warri South-West local government area of Delta State. If the injustice against us is not addressed, we will shut down oil and gas facilities in our communities if this grave injustice against us is not addressed.
That's still an ongoing issue because it looks like it's not going to end anytime soon as far as that issue of delineation is concerned. But away from that, let's tell you about the evidence provided by the 2023 presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, denying his involvement with the government of General Sani Abacha, stating that he was co-opted along with others into the task force to decongest the ports. Mr. Obi says his first meeting with the former dictator was born out of a collective concern as traders and importers over the prolonged delays in clearing goods at the ports to find solution to issues affecting economic activities and livelihood. In a post on X where he attached the letter, he explains how it was advocacy for efficiency and to propose practical steps towards restoring normalcy in ports operation for the benefit of business community and the Nigerian economy. Well, I wish my producer could have put up that picture of the letter. Actually, there's, yeah, so let's take a look at, so that's the letter of Mr. Peter Obi actually put up on his page on X. So you can see a couple of names there, Mr. Okezibe, Joe, you can see from here. But I think his name is number 4, Gregory Peter Obi, and a couple of other persons who are co-opted. According to him, in an interview he had with my colleague, Sheung, I did talk about that because of the dictator's policies. Well, maybe they were sanctioned, or his pronouncement. There were issues around the ports. And so businessmen had to meet the former head of state, and they were co-opted into a committee to help. I think it was about 2 or 3 weeks, according to him, that it never worked as anything for the government of Sani Abacha. Okay. Now that that's out of the way, let me bring you my guest, a former minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. In fact, he was a spokesperson of the APC at some point. Also, he was a senatorial aspirant, an author, brilliant gentleman, joins me now. He's a spokesperson of the ADC, the coalition, new house for the coalition. It's Bolaji Abdullahi. Mr. Abdullahi, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you very much. My pleasure. Yeah, good afternoon.
Yeah, so you have a long list of huge credentials. So I just need to restrict myself to the ones available to me. But let's talk about the business of the day. And since the coalition officially adopted the ADC, how would you describe the reception?
Well, I mean, we are delighted with the initial reception from across the country. For us, it felt like a breath of fresh air. It felt like this was what Nigerians were waiting for. I think the government itself created an environment where people felt suffocated and left with no alternatives. So when we announced the coalition, it does appear that people felt that finally this is what we are waiting for. So that had two implications for us. It's quite encouraging in terms of what we tried to do, but it's also challenging in terms of how to manage the expectations of the people and how to ensure that we keep our promises and we don't let the people down. Because like many people have said, we've seen all this before, what is new, what is different. So majority of Nigerians, especially the youth, have become so cynical that it's almost difficult, if not impossible, to convince them that this is different. So that's a huge challenge on us. We cannot stop every single day trying to show that this is different, and this is about confronting the existential challenge that our country faces that directly impacts on the young people. So it's still a long journey. We are conscious of the challenges ahead, but we are encouraged by the initial reception across the country.
You are what I'll call pass for an established communicator. So I'm happy you have alluded to the fact that it's almost difficult and challenging to be able to say what is different about this coalition. In fact, I've heard all kinds of analogy. In fact, currently what is going on is what I consider integrity profiling of the persons within the coalition in that sense. So first question again, what is different about this coalition? Because people are cynical. They've seen people come together like this. They saw them in 2014, which now became the APC. They've seen all kinds of aggregation at different times, and they've said, okay, these are the same crop of people. What is different? So what exactly is different, Mr. Abdullahi, and how do you intend to communicate that to the people of Nigeria, especially the young population?
I agree with you completely. I mean, like I said earlier, I was part of the 2015 process, but I knew the scale of the ambition that we had. I was in the policy department, and I knew what the grand ideas that we had on how to restructure the economy, how to reform education, and strengthen infrastructure for productivity and national competitiveness. And all this we worked on, believing that this is a great opportunity to do something differently. But it hasn't gone the way we expected, because it does appear that the people involved had a different understanding or interpretation of what needed to be done. Now here we go again. So people will say, "Oh, it's the same thing." I mean, we've seen this before, like I said, but the actors are not going to be different because you are not going to be able to manufacture new politicians overnight. It's the same people who have been active in politics maybe since 1999 that are still going to be there. Maybe you see some young people who have managed to come into the arena, but as far as the Fourth Republic is concerned, it's going to be the same people. We're not going to manufacture new political class overnight. We're not going to bring foreigners to run Nigerian politics. Is the same people we are going to have. What is going to make the difference is are you able to build a new framework that commits to doing things differently? And that is where the ADC is different. Are you going to build a political party that will ensure that elected officials on its platform are held accountable based on the promises we made to Nigerians? That's what will make the difference. We are conscious of the historic significance of what we are doing. We are aware that if we don't get it right this time, Nigerians may look, the already cynical young people will now give up completely on the possibility of progress for this country. So it's a huge challenge, it's a historical burden that we carry. And that is why we are saying that, yes, you can look in our ranks and say, oh, these were part of the people in the past. But we are building a new system, we are building a new framework that commits everyone to behaving in a particular way and understanding that this is probably the last chance that everybody has in terms of the ability to bring in young people, in terms of ability to convince everyone that we, the political class, can actually redeem itself and serve the purpose of what will improve the life and livelihood of Nigerians. Let me also add quickly that the kind of existential challenge that we confront today is probably unprecedented. And this is another important reason for us to do things differently. Because it doesn't matter. We used to have the very rich, the middle class, and the very poor. Now, the idea, the very notion of the middle class has disappeared. So it's either you are very rich, which is very infinitesimal, maybe less than 1%, or poor. And that's why we say the difference today is between the rich and the poor, the poorer and the poorest. So these are convictions that we have, and this is what is driving us. We know, like I said, it's a new system we're trying to build. Some of us are involved because we are convinced that this is possible, and we believe that the mandate we've set for ourselves, we are going to deliver on them. That's our conviction.
Mr. Abdullahi, if I go to the landmines already being spotted across all of this, I know that before the coalition was formally announced, some of the things that were touted as to the effect that the persons that will be part of the coalition are working towards building a proper political party, not just a political platform. But they say old habits die hard. As soon as that was done, we've had interviews with a few persons who are part of the coalition, i.e., Rotimi Amechi. He's mentioned about presidential ambition one way or the other, whether implicitly or explicitly. Peter Obi has also done that. And of course, I think Atiku Abubakar on one hand. So people are saying that is even the albatross, even the Achilles heel. The ambition of the persons involved may be the death of the coalition. What do you see about this old habit dying hard?
Well, I don't think I would see it as old habit dying hard. It's just politicians doing what politicians will do. Every politician has an ambition in one way or the other. But what is important is for the party to be able to impose its authority to regulate or modulate the ambitions of individual members. I mean, even in conceptual terms, that's what political parties are meant to do, to aggregate interest, to regulate ambitions and all that. So we don't have any problems with anybody coming to say, look, I want to be president, I want to be this or that. That's not a problem. The important thing is that we are able to build a party that is strong enough and able to impose its authority on individual members. That is one. Two, build a party that is transparently just and gives opportunity to everyone. So once you are able to give opportunity to everyone, then you also increase your own authorization level and be able to discipline your membership to follow the rules. It's when you are not able to give equal opportunity to everyone, and our chairman emphasized this yesterday, or any of the aspirants think that the system is pre-rigged against him. That's when you lose your authorization as the party leadership. So we are clear about this, and we are determined we have learned lessons from what has happened in the past, if I can put it that way. We don't have any problems with people coming here or coming out to project their ambitions. In the end, it's the party that will have to impose its authority to ensure that everyone play by the rules.
Mr. Abdullahi, let's come to the litigation issue already. It seems like early in the day, perhaps would you say that the coalition did its homework before adopting the ADC? So we see Adeyemi, Emmanuel Ayodeji, Victor Tulu, and Haruna Ismaila three plaintiffs, with you, Mr. Ralph, Senator David Mark, His Excellency Ralph Aragbeshala, all as defendant in this case, and there were perhaps 7 questions for determination, and they sought their relief. And it bordered on the leadership, the membership, and all of this. Is this already causing some concern in the thinking of the coalition that have we walked into another murky waters?
Absolutely not. I mean, we are not bothered about this. You will expected all of this, and we took our time to do all that needed to be done in legal terms because we knew that the government that was capable of undermining a party like PDP, a government that could undermine other opposition political parties, is not likely to watch us to thrive unchallenged. So we expected all this, and the individuals you've mentioned, they are not known to the ADC. They are not in the register of in any of the states. So we are not bothered about this. We are focused on doing what we set out to do. These challenges will come, we'll deal with it, but it's not going to deter us from asking the questions that we need to ask, which is this government, by omission or commission, has pursued policies, catastrophic policies, that have destroyed the livelihood of Nigerians and has led to a situation where Nigerians are beginning to ask themselves, what is in this for me? So that is the issue. And that's why we constantly say we are not going to be distracted by all this. You know, we are going to talk about the headline inflation that's wiped out the livelihood of the people, the price of petrol, the price of food. That's what we want to talk about. And we want to be able to provide an alternative to say, this is what ADC will do differently. We are not going to pursue the policy that even IMF, that is the temple of neoliberal economics in the world, are saying that in devaluing your naira, in floating your naira, you've done something terrible. We didn't expect you to go this far. It's their advisors. You know, so we are saying that they have done this. They've ruined the economy, and they've put the livelihood of Nigerians in danger. And we have a duty to rescue Nigerians from all this. That's the kind of conversation we want to have. All this pettiness, all these personal attacks, personal abuse, ADC, as a matter of policy, will not indulge in it. In legal terms, the issues I have to do with legal issues, we have competent people who are capable of dealing with that. So we are not concerned at all. We are clear about what we want to say, what we want to achieve.
All right, Ms. Abdullahi, indulge me for a moment to highlight some more, in your words, pettiness before we get to the issue of policy. Daniel Bwala, we had him a few days ago. He said this coalition will not last more than 6 months because of infighting. I had Mr. Sheikh Usheomi yesterday. He dismissed this coalition in his own way. In fact, I asked him straight up, alluding to the fact that one of the key members of the coalition, Atiku Abubakar, is almost at the vanguard of causing this political instability whenever a southerner is in charge of government. Those were his allusion. I also watched a video today of the Senate Minority Leader, Abba Moro, saying that it looks more like a gang up, and this is not like what Nigeria should be all about. When you hear all of this, what's your immediate response before we talk about policy as much as we have time?
No, you see, for me, it's some kind of, if you remember when we started this, they say it's dead on arrival. Now, so it's some progress that they're even willing to give us 6 months. That we will last for 6 months. So we were not going to, but what do you expect them to say? You know, what do you expect them to say? I mean, so don't let us dwell on this. I mean, individuals have the right to their opinions. That's why we think that it's democracy. Let everybody say what they like to say. So it's not a problem. We have to double down, continue to do what we need to do. We have a party to build, and we'll continue to build it.
All right, Mr. Abdullahi, so let's talk about this policy, because some of us who are journalists, and it's a space you're quite familiar with, we have been waiting for an alternative idea. Okay, let's use the economy, for instance. This government has taken a very strong neoliberal direction in its pursuits. It said when they came in, they were in debt, and they were carrying wage bills that they couldn't cope with. They can't go the welfareist direction, even though the Constitution, according to Section 16, has talked about, seems to have nuances around welfareism in terms of principle of public policy, in economic policy, I should say. They said, okay, let's take our subsidy in PMS, take our subsidy in electricity partly, and they also took our subsidy in FX. So that's where we have landed. So what exactly is the coalition going to be proposing? Are you going to go socialist, or are you going to modify this neoliberal approach? What exactly should we be looking at?
You see, thank you very much. You see, the problem with this government is they have an idea of what they would like to do, but it does appear that they don't know how to do it and they don't know how to calibrate it. You know, so when they set out with all these things that they are doing, what they're probably expecting is that Nigerians will clap for them, that they are strong, they are able to take the difficult decisions at the beginning. But when you remove fuel subsidy, and the net consequence of that is that pump price jumped from 190 naira to about 1,000 naira. That's about 500% increase overnight. That immediately constitutes a major challenge, and if not catastrophic effect on the livelihood of the people. Then before people get used to that, then you floated your naira, and naira jumps from 460 naira to 1,000 to $1 to 1,600 or thereabout to $1 overnight. A mixture of this at the same time, a mixture of this itself is it's unimaginable. Nobody does that. No country in the world will subject its people to a combination of these vicious policy attacks at the same time. Now, what we're saying is that even the United States, that they don't, that's number one capitalist economy in the world. I'm not an economist, and I'm not saying that they don't subsidize fuel, but they have subsidies along the value chain that ensure that the pump price is affordable to the people, maybe at the production stage or at the transportation stage or at the exploration stage. They have all kinds of subsidies that give to people in the industry that has a knock-on effect on the pump price, and ensure that people don't find it impossible to buy petrol. But when we do this, we do copycat, but we don't know the intricacies involved. We did not envisage the challenges that will follow. We did not find any safety net. I was just looking at the IMF report yesterday or so. Is saying that, look, a combination of these policies without the necessary palliative or necessary safety net has thrown a lot of Nigerians, majority of Nigerians, into poverty and misery. And the effect of what they are doing is slow in coming, if visible at all. And we don't see any indication that government is doing anything to do a step change or to backtrack on what they are doing. Even if they argue that the reform they have introduced was necessary or was inevitable, they have proved incapable of delivering it in a manner that will deliver the dividends and the gains to Nigerian people. So what ADC is saying is that we are not going to be tied down by label of whether we are neoliberal or we are liberal or we are socialist or we are welfarist. We are going to do what is right for the Nigerian people, because APC members don't have a different stations where they buy petrol. PDP members don't have a different station where they buy petrol. ADC members don't have a different station where they buy petrol. It is the same. We are all in this together. Nigerians are suffering from the misdirected and misguided policies of this administration. So we are going to do things differently, and whatever we do, the people will be at the center of the policy that ADC will pursue. Anything that is going to, any policy that we're going to pursue, the first question we are going to ask ourselves, how does it affect the people of Nigeria? How does it affect the livelihood of Nigerians? Is it going to make life better for Nigerians?
So,
Is
Ms.
going to make life
Abdullahi,
more difficult
just
for
a
Nigerians?
moment,
So these are the questions that
Ms.
we are going to
Abdullahi,
ask.
so there are only two, almost only two. It's almost like, I don't want to call it a catch-22 situation or a false dilemma, but something close to that. It's either you subsidize or you don't subsidize. Which is what?
No, it's not a question of whether you subsidize or you don't subsidize. It's a question of, one, how do you subsidize, right? So, and I just give you an example. Americans, you can't find anywhere that Americans subsidize fuel or gasoline, as they call it. But there are all kinds of subsidies that they introduced into the system along the value chain that has a knock-on effect. So that's an option. Now, what we have done is to remove subsidy, and we know how volatile that is in terms of the livelihood and dependency, how much our people depend on the price of petrol for their daily living. Majority of Nigerians have to depend on commercial transportation. We don't have public transportation system. We don't have railways. Those who have their own cars have to buy petrol. And the moment you introduce a policy that increases the price of petrol, it has a knock-on effect on almost every other thing. The woman selling vegetable in the market, the woman selling onions, the woman selling food. So everything becomes rapidly incremental. So these are the things. And the question, I don't think this government gave itself enough time to consider the implication. I think that was a mindset that we are going to come in, we are going to remove subsidy, and we are going to eat from day one during the honeymoon period, and let the people know we are strong, we are determined, we are courageous. And this is the problem. They didn't give themselves enough time to think that this policy they are introducing, or a combination of this policy, is going to have the kind of catastrophic effect it has had on the livelihood of the people.
Mr. Abdullahi, quite a pleasure talking to you. I wish we had more time, but in the coming days, this conversation continues. And this is my my simple advice to the ADC. We need answers. We already see the problem. We have seen the direction of the Tinubu administration, and we've seen the cost of the social cost. So we'd like, answers, some of which you have provided, but our broader issues as well around debt burden, around productivity, around export, that plethora of things, even around restructuring. I'm sure that your team is putting all of that together, because those are the answers Nigerians are looking for to know whether they have an option or not. Mr. Bolaji Abdullahi is a spokesperson of the ADC, former Minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, an author, and a great guy. Thank you, sir, for coming on the program. I appreciate you.
Thank you very much. My pleasure always. Thank you.
Okay. Before we go, let's tell you that the Rivers State chapter of the National Youth Council of Nigeria has reiterated its non-partisan nature and support in the peace in the state. The state chapter of Chairman Soporochi Uche, or rather Okbo, speaking during a management meeting in Port Harcourt, welcomed the ongoing peace process between Governor Siminalayi Fubara and the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike. And that's it on the program. Thank you so much for your time and company. I'm Jeffrey Uzongo. You've been served on Lunchtime Politics. Bye-bye.